Hi, this is Julie Chavana with Yoga Tree Consulting, and I'm here today talking about activities at training. It's likely that if you are thinking about training yoga teachers or perhaps are currently training yoga teachers, then you've been through some sort of yoga teacher training yourself, whether that's through Yoga Alliance or some other organization or just the studio's yoga teacher training. It's also likely that you remember some of the activities that you did at training. There's probably some things you enjoyed doing, some things maybe not so much. But the bottom line is when you try to put it all together yourself for your training, it can get a little jumbled. Not exactly clear how to put them together to make a meaningful training yourself. One question I continually ask myself throughout training and when I'm preparing for training is, will this activity, will this reading, will this whatever it is, help my trainees teach yoga classes? Will this help them feel confident stepping in front of a class of students after training is over? Will this help them safely guide, challenge, teach? You may also realize with all of that every one of your students has a different learning strength, a different learning style. For some people it's reading, for some people it's more listening, and certainly doing. And for most of us it's really a combination of those things that pulled together help us best learn. So what does this mean for you as a trainer? Well, it means that you need to have relevant activities, right, that are helping them learn to teach, and at the same time a variety activities so that they remain engaged and so that you touch on a wide variety of learning styles. So when I introduce a new topic in yoga teacher training, there's some reading. Typically we're referencing the manual, my yoga teacher training materials. There will be I'll bring in current articles, whether they're yoga articles or some other sort of current news, and how, I bring that back to how it relates to yoga practice, maybe philosophy, books. There are a lot of books that I reference. I'll pull out snippets of things and bring those in. Sometimes they're the books we're using in training, sometimes they're not, but I bring in books. There is discussion. So once things start to be laid out on the table, we start talking about information and reading and referencing things. Then there's a back and forth between the students and myself, and we have a nice, good discussion about the topics. There's listening for sure, right? So there's always a piece of training where I'm sharing experiences or sharing information, more lecture style, although I don't like to say that, but a more lecture style within the training. And then always the doing, right? Yoga practice, posture lab work, practice teaching, creating sequences, journaling. All of these activities are certainly mixed in throughout the day and end up creating a bulk of the yoga teacher training. So what my typical Saturday 8-hour long training might look like is something like this.
All right, so my typical Saturday schedule, 8 hours. We're typically meeting for a much longer period than, 1 or 2 hours, as you are likely aware. So we'll start off with a yoga practice, an hour and 15 minutes. I like to get everybody moving first thing. And then right after practicing, after moving, I like to do journaling. So in my training, journaling is not just whatever topic you desire or are thinking of. I relate the journal topics back to what we'll be discussing that day. So I give them a topic that we will be journaling about. So we'll do that for about 15 minutes or so. And then from then until about noon, there might be a reading and discussion. Let's call it chapters 1 and 2 from the manual. As I mentioned, discuss an article from Yoga Journal or, USA Today or whatever source that sort of reflects back to the topics we're looking at. Then we'll take a lunch break, of course, and then after that we'll spend the bulk of the afternoon working on the posture lab. So we spend, as you can see here, about 30 minutes per posture, and we go through in my posture lab setup. There's a list of things that we go through for each posture, and then while they're doing this, there's discussion, of course, note taking, demonstration. So someone demonstrates the posture, either myself or one of the trainees. And then a part of each posture is practice peer teaching. So they break up into groups and teach each other the posture. Another small break in the afternoon, and then we'll work on the in-class worksheets. Again, in my training materials, there's a manual and a workbook. So we will go back to the topics we discussed in chapters 1 and 2, and we will work together to fill out the worksheets. We'll discuss any homework that will be due for the next time, that kind of thing. And we'll do that for about 30 minutes or so. It just depends. These are flexible. If we don't get to 6 of these, we'll get to 5 so that we stay on track. If the worksheets take a little less time or a little more time, this last 45 minutes is going to be movement. So movement and meditation until the 5 o'clock close. If we're running a little late, I can cut the movement back to 35 minutes, that kind of thing. So I do allow in here some time for going over or going under. All right, I hope that helps. You can find this at yogatreeconsulting.com/resources. You can get a blank format of a schedule, and you can use this as a guide for creating your own schedule for training. All right, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time. Take care.